Okay. We're continuing where we left off from before. All right. It was in chapter 1. Chapter 1, verse. Yeah. Let's go back to chapter 126 just to refresh memory. And God said, let us make man in our image. Let us, plural, right? Plural. In our image. What's God's image? What's the God's image? Because let us. So they come to terms and agreements. So I'm sure there was meetings and back and forth debates, conversations. It just didn't happen right away. They said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. Right? And let them have dominant over the fish of the sea. Should say men's. Let's say man in our image. That's singular. Because after that, it says, let them have dominant over the fish of the sea. So I guess that's improper translation right there, because it says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them. You see? It shouldn't say, let us make men's in our image and after our likeness, and let them. That would have been much better, but hey, go figure, right? You guys figure it out. Do your research. Yeah. And then in verse 27, it says, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female. Male and female. It's in God image. So God is a hermaphrodite? I don't know. It says, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. I don't know. What image is the females after? This is before Adam and Eve. All right. So we spoke on that on the last video. And then and God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful. This is verse 28. And multiply and replenish. It's a big word right there, replenish. It means to refill. Right? To refill. So there was man and female before. There was male and females before them. So something must have happened to them in order for them to be, replaced. Okay. Questions you people out here need to seek. All right. Let's go to verse 29. Chapter 1, verse 29. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, and which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Okay. The fruit of a tree yielding seed to you shall be for meat. So the seed is, you should eat the seed as it should be like a meat, right? Okay, so All right, in verse 30, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creeps upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. All right, chapter 1, verse 31. And God saw everything that he had made, not created, made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. All right, everything was good. All right, remember that. All right. Now we're going to read chapter 2. Now we're in chapter 2. Chapter 2. Though the heaven and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. Though the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work, which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work, which he had made. Okay. In verse 3, chapter 2, and God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. So he was tired. He rested. All right. Verse 4. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created. In the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens, and every plant of the field, before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. Okay, hold on. Verse 5. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But in chapter 1, verse 26, and God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creep upon the earth. So why in chapter 2, verse 5, it says, for the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But didn't he just create man in verse 26 and 27 in chapter 1, verse 26 and 27? Okay, it's another question right there, all right? Okay, you have to do your research. All right, chapter 2, verse 6. But they went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground. But chapter 1, verse 26, verse 27, he created male and female already. No. Okay. Verse 7, chapter 2. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. man of the dust of the ground, right? And breathe into his nostrils. So there's two type of human beings being created here. I mean, I don't know. You guys, I mean, I do know, but I mean, I'm asking the questions to, to the followers of the faith or people who believe in this book. There's questions here that you should know. Seek the answers. In verse 8, it says, "And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed." But what happened to the other people in chapter 1, verse 26 and 27? All right. Chapter 2, verse 9. "And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, right? And the tree of knowledge of good and evil." What is the tree of life? And what is the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Is that symbolic speaking? Can't be an actual tree, right? Verse 10. "And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into four heads. The name of the first is Pison, that is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold." Right? And the gold of that land is good. The Lord of that land is good. God like gold. Never said man was good. Everything else is good that he created or made, but he didn't say that about man. Right? And the gold of that land, verse 12, chapter 2, the gold of that land is good. There's the bdellium and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. Ancient name, Cush. Right? Got Africa in here now. All right. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it which goeth toward the east of Assyria. And the fourth river is Euphrates. And the Lord God took him, right? How he took him? And put him into the garden of Eden, to dress it and to keep it. All right, verse 16, chapter 2, verse 16. "And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou mayst freely eat, but the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die." Do everything else, but don't eat that tree of knowledge. You're gonna die. And the Lord, in verse 18, "And the Lord God said, It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him an helpmate for him." But chapter 1, verse 26 and 27 says, especially verse 27 in chapter 1, it says male and female was created already. But now in chapter 2, verse 18, "And the Lord God said, It is not good that man should be alone." Okay. Do your research. Ask your preacher and pastor and pope etc. These questions. What's going on here? All right. Verse 19. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam, to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an helpmate, or meat, it says meat, for him. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. Wow. Chapter 2, verse 21. Put him to sleep, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs. Wow. Took one of his ribs. Put him to sleep. Sounds like an operation to me. Oh, man. I forgot the name of that chemical that put you to sleep, but man, he put him to sleep and took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. Stitches? What's going on here? Let me read that verse again. Chapter 2, verse 21. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. So he cut him open, took one of his ribs, right? He closed up the flesh instead of. So it sounds like an operation. So Adam was on the operation table, had God and plus, other people there. I'm sure the angels, etc. Right? Adam falls asleep. He gets cut open. His ribs is taken out. Verse 22 says, and the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. So some genetic engineering took place here. Some cloning, some genetic stuff took place here, because in chapter 1, verse 26 and 27, especially 27, he created male and female already, right? And then chapter 2, verse 21 and verse 22, he created woman. He put him to sleep. He cut him open. Was it actual rib, or are they saying, something like chromosomes? The X chromosomes was taken out from Adam to create a female, because a male has XY chromosome and a female has XX chromosome. So the X chromosome was taken out of Adam to create the female, Eve. Wow. I don't know, you guys. I mean, I do know, but I'm saying, this is something that's not being taught to a lot of people, to a lot of the followers. This is, interesting. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Of course they was not ashamed, because they ain't had no knowledge. Remember, you can't touch the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So you have no knowledge that you're naked. You have no shame. You're putting it in the garden, and you're running around naked. I mean, you got people, tribes in Africa and parts of Asia and deep in South America and Amazon and all that. that's, that's naked. They run around naked. I mean, they live off the earth, right? They don't worry about bills or rent, and they live in huts. They go hunting, and they have their breasts out. The ladies have breasts out. The men, some of the men some of them are naked. They just might wear a little, you know, what you call a kilt, but they don't have no underwears or anything like that. Sometimes their genitals are out. So I don't know. This is very interesting. I know you guys, who's reading with me, never thought about, questioning about verse 21 and 22, and Adam's. This sounds like an operation. It is an operation. He was put to sleep, cut open, his ribs was taken out, and it says, and the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. This is verse 21, chapter 2. He slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh. He closed it up. Stitches. This is all physical. There's an operation here. This is genetic engineering. All right? This is a long process. It wasn't no 1, 2, 3. I'm sure there was errors. I mean, we're reading this verses sound like, you're reading it and it sounds easy, but I'm sure it wasn't. Right? We have that mindset that God creates things and boom, it happens right there. Like magic, it appears. Not what I'm reading here, or you're reading here. All right, well, we'll be on chapter 3. Subscribe. All right, this is a long journey here. Subscribe. And we'll continue on chapter 3, Genesis chapter 3. This is the Bible, Yeah. King James Version. Okay. This when I'm through with this book, you're gonna have a lot of questions, a lot of research, and a lot of thinking to do. Gotta open your mind. Subscribe, and we'll spread the word, and we'll read chapter 3 together. Genesis chapter 3. Peace.